Okay, I'm Kat, and I'm back again. So I'm really banging these out and getting down to the last couple ideas that I wanted to get across. These are largely videos. Other people are doing great videos all over the place. I give shout outs to them constantly. Much better quality and certainly better production than these videos. I'll put some names down in the description. I think you should go see them. But I hope you don't mind me putting out some of these ideas because I really wanted to expand on some ideas that are already out there, or some fill in some gaps that might exist, and maybe some ideas. These will put some ideas out there about what will happen or why things are happening in the Games of Thrones, because George R.R. Martin uses a lot of mythology, legend, and real history, which he mixes together in a big batter and comes out with the Game of Thrones. So, episode 6, or season 6, episode 5, had a lot of little shocking things happening in it. And actually, something that was kind of happening all along that everybody was talking about, but nobody's sure what exactly it means or what's going to happen with it, is Bran and his astral projecting into the past. And that's what I'm going to call it, astral projection. It's not really time travel. A lot of people are like, oh, is Bran time traveling? Well, time traveling suggests that your body physically goes to another place and or another time in another place. And that's not what he's doing. His body is still in the cave with the trees when this thing is going on. So what he's doing is what's called astral projection. And there's a lot of myths and legends and religion behind that concept. But what I wanted to talk about was the concept of time and what Bran might actually be doing. So if you caught my video about Bloodraven and Bran and the concept of Merlin, that Merlin was in the tree eventually, either his body physically or his soul, because he was a druid, he was in the druidic period. And through that, he could see the past, the present, and the future. Now, there's different ideas about how time functions. In the Dark Ages, ancient times, their concept of time was very different than our own. So one of those concepts of time was basically that it was sort of repetitive. It was in a loop. The wheel turns. One of the physical representations of it was a wheel, but another one was the great serpent that circled the earth and was swallowing his own tail. So things were, it was the infinity, but it was also the concept of cyclical history, that things that were will be again. So, and you think about that because that's actually something that's being said in Game of Thrones. So winter has been before and winter is coming again. Azor Ahai has come before, Azor Ahai will come again. So we get this idea that history repeats itself. And in fact, in the modern way, we talk about it as those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it. But we in our time, we see time as a linear idea. It only goes forward. It cannot go back. So in that idea, you can't change history, or you don't want to, because as I said in another video, the raindrop in China becomes a tsunami someplace else. So you don't want to change anything because it could create a whole alternate reality. And we kind of get this idea that Bloodraven's saying that to Bran when Bran shouts out to his dad, and Bloodraven's like, whoa, no. And Bran says, oh, he heard me. And he's like, no, he didn't hear you. That's just the wind or something. So maybe, even though history repeats itself, Bloodraven has the idea that in fact you could impact history, but it doesn't. But there is also this idea in time theory that changing something in the past does not necessarily mean a better outcome in the future. So think about it. Bloodraven's been in this tree for allegedly 50 years. He saw the past, he saw the present, he saw the future. So he knows what all the things are as they're going along. And he knows who needs to be where and when in order to have the right outcome. And you get this idea repeated to you when the Kiva is talking to, or Kifisha, or whatever her name is, the Red Priestess over in Marine is talking to Tyrion, and Varys is asking all these questions, and she basically says, well, you know, humans make mistakes, right? But right now that everybody, despite these mistakes in the prophecies or whatever, that everybody is where they need to be, in the place they need to be, at the time they need to be. So you get this idea that maybe Bloodraven did see the past, the present, and the future, and he knows what needs to happen. And he doesn't want it to change. He doesn't want it to change. And so he warns Bran, he's warning him not to interfere because bad things will happen. But he's also, the Game of Thrones is also repeating the concept of time as a circular or a repetitive concept. And actually, if you go back and see some of my other videos, I talked about Ragnarok, other ideas, civilizations and faith ideas of the great apocalypse, Greek mythology, Christian theology. All of these things talk about the apocalypse that was before, and it will come again, the messiahs that came before, it will come again, the destruction of the pantheons of gods, and then their recreation, the destruction of man, blah blah blah. So you get this idea. There are other theories of time that also go along with this idea, like the raindrop creating a tsunami, and there's an idea of the infinite decision tree in time. It might even be referred to as a string theory, but I might have those confused. But essentially what it says is that everybody makes certain decisions, and all of these decisions create a particular outcome. And if one person changes their decision, it changes other people's decisions along the way, and it creates like this tsunami of decision changing that, and at the end is bad voodoo, or maybe good voodoo, but probably bad, because no matter what, I mean, you might accidentally, kill the person that cures cancer. Right? Okay. So there's another theory of time. And is Bran doing the repetitive, learning the repetitive history that keeps occurring, and what he has to do to stop it? In the present, that doesn't mean he has to change the past, but if he knows everything that happened in the past, in the present or at some future moment, he could do what is potentially the right thing and change the outcome to the good outcome. So infinite decision tree says you could try to change something in the past, but it'll probably have a really bad effect down the line, because it could change, millions upon millions of other decisions that will wreck the outcome. There is another theory that time actually is, at least the past, is stagnant, that once it happens you can't change it, and then if you tried to change it in this linear time path, if you tried to change what happened in the past, that time itself would correct itself by some other decision or act that would occur that would basically put those actions all back on the same path, so that you would come to the same moment in time with all the same effects. So there's another time theory. And the one last one I want to talk about is game theory. It's not really a time theory, but it's the concept of decision making. And game theory basically says that that for every decision there's a counter decision, and there are only a few decisions and counter decisions that can be made in any particular situation, and so you only have a few actual outcomes. So if you're Bloodraven and you're in a tree and you could see the past and you could see the present and you could see the future, it might be that you could see multiple futures, or you could only see a certain amount of future, because there's a number of alternate decisions that might actually impact in the future what happens. But you can see the past because it's stagnant. It doesn't change. You can see the present because it's happening right now. And in game theory, there's only a few decisions that will make an outcome. So what is Bloodraven and Bran doing? I think Bloodraven is not trying to get Bran to change the past. He does not want Bran to change the past. He actively tried to discourage that, because if he changed the past, tsunami. But he needs him to know about the past. He needs him to know about what happened. How were the others made? They were made with dragon class imbued with evil, right? And they were made by the children of the forest. And he needs to know how that all came about. And he needs to know who the potential saviors are. Who are the 3 riders of the dragons? And the only way he can know is if he knows all the history. So is he being told who Jon's parents are and that he's really a true Targaryen? Is he being told who Tyrion's father is, and that he's a hidden Targaryen, and he's going to be one of the dragon riders? Because obviously, you know, everybody's thinking about, if dragon class is what created it, and dragon class weapons is what kills the others, then obviously you need dragons to create dragon glass, or you need the dragon's fire directly to, you know, impact the magic of the ice people. So you need a nuclear weapon to fight a nuclear weapon. It's like mutual destruction, mutual assured destruction. So I think what he's doing is Bran needs information to know what to do in the future. He does not want him to change, and should not change, what happened in the past. He just needs to know so he knows what to do in the future. Ooh, somebody's impatient. All right, enjoy. I hope you enjoy the video and think about what that means, what's going to happen, or what information we're probably going to find out. I think everybody's pretty much speculated on it, but it's not time travel, it's astral projection. It's astral projection. And he doesn't want him to change the past. All right, have a good one. Appreciate it. Check out some of the other videos if you want to know about Merlin and Bran and all that other good stuff. Have a good one.